Hi everyone, my name is Aiman Hakim and I am computer engineer. But right now I am still undergraduate student for bachelor degree computer engineering at University Malaysia Perlis. Hopefully one day I will become an engineer. So today I would like to present my answer for question 1 of computer architecture media based assignment. Um, But before we start, I would like to express my gratitude to all my lecturers who teach me and guide me for this semester. So, thank you very much to Dr. Surantiran, Dr. Nur Fadila, and IR Dr. Marni. And thank you very much again because uh, create this assignment. Actually, this assignment is very meaningful to me because it's been a long time I am not record a video. Personally, I like to record a video for myself because I want to practice to speaking English, and hopefully again, I hope one day I will fluently speaking English. So without further ado, let's start. In this presentation, I will explain the characteristic of random access memory, or as usually we call it as RAM. Next, I will compare static RAM and dynamic RAM, and I will discuss which of these two types is the best for cache memory and main memory. So the first thing that we need to know is RAM has three main characteristics. So what is the characteristic of the RAM? The first characteristic is that RAM is a volatile memory. Okay, volatile memory, what is this? So this means RAM needs electrical power to store data. So let's say when the electric power is turned off, all the data will lost. So this is the first characteristic of RAM in our computer, right? Okay, so the second characteristic is that RAM support read and write operation. So what is this means? Read and write operation. The processor can read information from RAM, and also the processor can store new information in the RAM. So I would like to give the analogy like this is processor and this is RAM. So processor can read and write in the RAM. Okay. So the third characteristic of RAM is random access. So this means the processor, like this processor, this is RAM, yes, and processor can access any memory location directly in the same time. So RAM is very fast memory. Okay, now let us compare static RAM and dynamic RAM. So the comparison that I will start is static RAM stores data using flip-flop circuits made of several transistors, while dynamic RAM stores data using one transistor and one capacitor for each bit. So this looks like static RAM have many transistors and dynamic RAM have one transistor. Because capacitors lost charge over time, dynamic RAM needs a refresh process to keep the data stored, and static RAM does not require refreshing. So as a result, static RAM is much faster than dynamic RAM. However, static RAM use more transistors, making it more expensive and giving it lower storage capacity. Of course lah, because because it's expensive and the circuit is complicated, so that's why it's low capacity. So on the other hand, dynamic RAM is lower, but it provides high storage capacity and costs much less to manufacture. So we can say that dynamic RAM is cheap and static RAM is expensive. Okay, for cache memory, static RAM is the best choice because cache memory needs a very high speed to keep up with the central processing unit. Also, static RAM is expensive. Only a small amount of cache memory is required. So cache memory is in the CPU. So cache memory needs to access data fast. So that's why we use static RAM in the cache memory design. For main memory, dynamic RAM is the better option because modern computer need large amount of memory, such as 8 GB or 16 GB. Right now we can say the RAM going to 64 GB. Dynamic RAM can provide this large capacity at a much lower cost. Okay. In conclusion, static RAM is used for cache memory because of its high speed, while dynamic RAM is used for main memory because its high capacity and lower cost. So we can use in the big amount. Using both type of memory allows computer to achieve a good balance between speed, capacity and cost. So this means that the computer needs two of these design. So that's why engineers of computer needs to use of these two design in the computer right now, because we need to see at the speed, cost and capacity, right? So that's all from me for right now. I hope you guys enjoy my video explaining about this RAM, which is the memory in our computer. Okay, so thank you very much and see you guys in the next time. Bye bye.